Hello and welcome ProITians. So I hope you guys are enjoying, right? We have seen in the previous sessions we have seen about the various options about storage, and we in the last session we had seen about managed disk, right? And we know what are the benefits of managed disk, right? And we don't want to wait any longer. We want to utilize the managed disks with our Windows virtual machine that we had provisioned in the last session, right? And we want to see how we are going to test actually that how the files get deleted for the temporary data store, and we are going to create a new data store that would be for data store, and then we are going to create files on that, and we see that the files are not getting deleted in that, right? It's going to be a fun session, so keep tight, and I'll see you in the session. Thank you. Hello and welcome ProITians. So in this session what we are going to do is we will try to create a managed disk, and that is we are going to use for data, and then we are going to attach that disk to web server 03, right? Great. Let's go ahead. Before I move ahead, let me show you the disks which are already configured with the web server 03. So what I will do is I'll RDP on that server, okay? So I click on connect. That's the public IP of the server out here. So we are using the same public IP server to connect that web server, okay? And just to note, this is going to be our Windows server, all right? Okay, so if I click on this PC, I get there are two drives. One is C drive and the another one is D drive, okay? And D drive, as you can see, is your temporary storage, okay? So I'll double click on that, and out here we have one text file, okay? So it says data loss warning read me, okay? I'll double click on that, and as you can see there's a warning in that text file. It's mentioning that this is a temporary disk. Any data stored on this drive is subject to loss and there is no way to recover it. Please do not use this disk for storing any data, any personal or application data. For additional help or details, please refer to this documentation, okay? So what I'll do is I'll create a text file and see what happens when I reboot the server. Okay, so I'll create a new text file. I'll give it a name as test, okay, and I'll enter the data. This is a test file, okay, and I save this file and I close it. Alright, so this we have already created this test file now. See, so as we have seen in the earlier session, if we reboot the server, then this file should be as it is. It should not be lost, right? So let me go back to my console. I'm here. Let me see the notifications. So there are no notifications now here, so I'm good. I can click close, and I'm now going to click on restart. So it gives me, do you really want to restart the server? I said yes, and within few seconds what happens is now my session is already connected, it will get disconnected, okay, shutting down. Okay, so it is already shut down the server, and in the notification I'll get successfully restarted virtual machine. So my virtual machine is now up. So what I'll do is I'll connect the RDP again, and it's the same public IP address, so I'll click on connect. So what we have done now is we have rebooted our web server 03, and the motive is that we want to check if that test file is as it is after the reboot. Okay, it seems it is taking a bit time. Okay, so it is connecting. Alright, and let me go to the folder. Okay, so I'm in my directory, so I click on this PC and then I go to D drive. Right, so as you can see, I am able to see my test file here, so I'll double click on this. Yes, it's the same one. Okay, great. Now we have seen that after the reboot the file didn't get lost. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and stop the server. So I click on yes, and then I go back to the server. It should say that it's shutting down. Yes, it is shutting down. So, and we'll check the notification. So as you can see, it's stopping the virtual machine. It's in process. So as you can see, the virtual machine is stopped now. Alright, now let's go ahead and start it. So the virtual machine is getting started. So as you can see, the virtual machine is now started. Okay, so let's connect to that virtual machine. I'll close this window. I'll do RDP. Okay, the server is up. Let's check the folder and see if we have the file there. So I go to this PC and then I click on D drive, and yes, we have lost that file, right? So hence proved that if we reboot the server, the file will be there in the temporary drive, but if we stop and start the server, or power off and power on the server, then the file will be lost. Now how can we actually make sure that that data is not lost, right? Alright, great. So let's cover the third part of managed disk. Okay, so I'm back in the console, and let's cover the third part of disks, managed disks, that is data disk. So for that, what I have to do is I have to click on disks. Okay, and then out here I have to come down, and this is the disk which is being used as of now. And as you can see, it's a premium SSD, and it's the encryption is SSE, that is server side encryption. Alright, so that is done by Azure. Okay, and here is the data disk, right? So I click on add data disk. Okay, you can see that those values need to be defined, and what we need to do is we need to click on create disk. Okay, once we click on that, then we are actually going to the next one, and we have to provide the name for this one. So what we can do is we can give web server having data. Alright, and we'll leave the resource group as it is, no changes here required, and source type is we can go for snapshot or we can go for storage block, but for now we'll leave it as it is. Right, and in case if you want to keep the size same, you can go ahead and do that, but for now what we do is for our labs, what we'll do is we'll configure the size to 4 gigs. Okay, and then click OK. Alright, and then encryption type we'll leave it as default, right, and then click on create. Okay, so now it's in the process of creating the disk. Okay, we can have a look on the notification. It's in the process of creating the disk. It will take about few seconds, and that disk should be ready. So we'll just give it a moment. So as you can see, the disk is already created and it was successful. So what we need to go do is we need to actually click on save here. Yeah, so what is happening is now the disk will be assigned to web server 03. Right, we'll just give one moment before it becomes available here. Right, it's done. Great. Now we need to go back to the server, and as you can see, it's not visible, right? So for that, what you need to do is we need to open disk management. So I get this option. I'll click on that, and as you can see, I mean, we are getting a prompt that a new disk has been added. It is disk 2, and what we need to do with that. So we need to initialize this, and we are going to use it as MBR. Okay, so I'll click on OK, right? And as you can see, we have the operating system disk and the temporary storage disk, and now we have the 4 gig, which is for the data and which is unallocated. So what I need to do is I need to right click on that and click on new simple volume. Okay, and this one I click on next, and I'll do the maximum 4 gigs, and I'll mount it as E drive. Alright, and click on next, perform a quick format, and I'll give the label as data. Okay, and then click on next and finish. Now this will be done, and we can see here as soon as it will be done, I get a new disk. Right now, this one, okay, so what I'll do is I'll create a new text document here, test. I'll put as this is a test and close, save. All right, now the idea behind data disk is that when we power off and power on the server, the data will not be lost, right? So let's have a look. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our portal, and we are again going to shut down the server. So for that, I'll click on overview and stop. Yes, so it's now showing me stopping virtual machine. So as you can see here, the virtual machine is stopped. Now let's go ahead and start it. So our virtual machine is now started, right? So let's RDP to that server and see if the data is still there or not, right? So I'll RDP on that to that same public IP address, and I click on connect. So we are logging to the server. It will take a couple of minutes. Yeah, we are there, and now we will open the folder. Alright, so let's click on this PC and let's see on the data drive and see if that file is there or not after the reboot. So yeah, I can see that file which we had created. Let's see the contents. Yes, we are able to see the contents, right? Great. So in this session, what we have demonstrated is we have demonstrated about managed disks, and we had seen like what happens to the data when we keep the file on the temporary drive, and we saw that when the server was rebooted, the file was intact, but when the server was powered off and powered on, the file was lost, right? Whereas when we had the same file in D drive, that is a data drive, it didn't matter. I mean, when we rebooted the server or when we powered off or powered on the server, the file was intact, right? Great. So that's all for this session, guys. Right? Please do subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon for getting updates, right? And if you're liking the video, then do click on the like button. All right, until next time, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.